I love that term. And is the owner and creative director of the Grand Event and working with clients to create memories by turning visions into realities. She's been in the event and wedding planning business for 6 years. And for those of you who may have missed it, they have 8 weddings this weekend. So she is a very busy lady right now. So we are so glad to have her. She mentioned that she is at the office today. She calls herself a toddler wrangler. So she is not at home where she'd be wrangling toddlers and virtual school going on. So we are so happy to have you here today, Chanel.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I am excited to be around adults, guys. Like Toddler Wrangler really is my name. I have a 3-year-old who has a personality of like a 45-year-old woman, a 3-year-old, and maybe somebody's grandmother as well. So she is a lot, but she runs this joint. And if you've ever had a chance to meet her, which a couple of you may have, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's also my son is doing virtual school. So we're working our business and then we're teaching as well. So it's been a busy time for us. I am Chanel Aiken, the owner and creative director of the Grand Event Design and Decor. We are essentially a event rental and design business. We do more than weddings. We do parties, corporate events, styled photo shoots for photographers. We do a lot of different things with the props and the things that we have. But I'm also a small business strategist, and I love to help other small businesses and creatives really dig into who they are and what they're trying to accomplish with their businesses. And that's one of my big passions. And especially from the mompreneur aspect of it, I built my business with my children, meaning that they were from start to finish involved in what we do. And so I definitely love to help other moms that are wanting to create business, start businesses, or how they're juggling all of this, get those things together. So that's what I do outside of our event design business. We also do small business strategy with my husband through Leeds University. So let me go back. I'm passionate about small business strategy and helping other creatives build their businesses, and they're bringing their visions to life, just as I am about the event design. We have so many people that have all these ideas and they have all of these thoughts that they want their business to look like and be like, and they just don't really know how to make that happen. And that's where we come into play. But as you all can imagine, everything that you had planned back in March, whether it was a speaking engagement with you guys or even just something that you had planned, it kind of went to crap, like nothing happened. And we had to kind of take a step back. We were getting ready to launch a series of podcasts. We were getting ready to launch actual like training exercises and all this stuff early spring. And then everything kind of just halted. I'm sure if you guys are on any groups, and I'm sure in any of these groups, you have people coming from you left and right between like March, April, and May with all these classes and all these things that you can get involved in and take this training and you should be doing this and how do you do this with your business? And there was just so much noise to me that everybody was trying to get you to see because you had all this downtime that it became a distraction. And so instead of releasing all this stuff that we were going to, we decided to pause our podcast. We actually decided to pause the business strategy consulting as well, because the reality was we had no answers to tell you the direction to go with what was going on. None of us had ever been through that. Nobody that we knew had ever been through that. So I didn't know what they were talking about when they were telling you what to do. It was one of those things where pausing seemed like the best option for us. And so we were not done away with the podcast, but we put it on hold. We really had to evaluate how we were going to get through this so that we could help other people get through it as well. And people have all these ideas and we're like, how are we going to get these things to work when we don't know answers of what's going to happen a month from now, what they're going to let us do a month from now? Can we go back to in person? Can we not go back to in person? So there were so many factors that we had to consider with all the noise that was going around us. And so that brings us to our topic today, and it's bringing your message forward in this new business environment. Everybody's kind of gotten back into a kind of a flow of things, maybe not the same. As you know, we're on a Zoom call right now. Normally we'd be somewhere having lunch, chatting it up, talking about our kids and all the fun things that we got going on. But this is kind of the new way of doing things, and it's going to be a new way of doing things till it becomes a normal way of doing things, honestly, for quite some time. And so we're we decided to just kind of really focus in on our why and what our message was going to be so that our business could go past this COVID crisis, the political unrest, all the social unrest. So our business could go past all that, because when we figured out our why, we knew that our why was going to carry us through to whatever else we had going on. Our why, our core reasons for being, whether you're a business owner, whether you're a professional, it can really transform your business, and it really will weather the storm. So if you ask me my why is that I create memories. That's what I do. Like, if you come to my house for brunch, it won't be normal brunch. I'm going to pull out the martini glasses and cut up fruit and put it on the table. And I'm going to buy fresh flowers, because I want you to leave there thinking, we got to do this again. I love that. And it's something that you want to do over and over again. So I do that with my events, obviously. And I also do that with our small business, like our clients, in that we want you to remember this, and in a good way. All of us in this group, we're salespeople, we're authors, we're account executives. I don't know who else on here. Some people out here might be plumbers or electricians. Whatever it is that you call yourself, that really isn't your core or your message or what it is that you're putting out. That's just kind of your job. But when you can define what that message is, that becomes the reason for your being in this world. So when you think about it, at any moment, your title can change, but your why really shouldn't. So for us, whether I'm creating a memory, my memory could be today, whether it's creating a scene for a wedding or reception or whatever. I could also transform that to a wedding venue. I could go out and do a lot of different things. Some of you might be writers. Your core could be that you like to communicate, that you like to tell stories, that you like to control the narrative of something. But that can transcend beyond writing a magazine article. That can transcend to maybe podcasts. That can transcend to being a magazine editor, newspaper editor. It can transcend when you find out what it is that you're doing it for, your why. And that is the thing that will carry you forward. There's a story that I like to share that was a story from The Rock. And he wrote, and he was talking about how he ended up where he is, that I like to share. He was having dinner one night, and this is early in his career, when he was just doing wrestling and he was kind of new on the scene, but people knew who he was, obviously. WWE is huge. And he was having dinner with his then wife, and a guy walked up to him, or a couple walked up to him, they wanted his autograph. Well, he was kind of reluctant, like he didn't really want to do it. He felt like, I'm having dinner, I can't believe they're coming up to me, but he signed it anyway, and they walked away. And he said when he watched the couple walk away, they were kind of disgusted with him. Like they just kind of weren't really like, oh man, I hate that we busted up his dinner. We felt guilty about asking for the autograph. And he said it was right then and there that he knew what his core was, because he never wanted people to feel like that again around him. So he decided that his message, that his being, or what he was going to work for and strive for, was going to be to make people happy when they ran into him, when they saw him on TV, when they whatever they encountered with The Rock, that was going to be his mission, to make them happy. And that allowed, when they made that their focus, it allowed him to open up a whole bunch of different avenues, because the conversation that they had before they decided that was his core was, how can I make wrestling bigger? How can I do more than just wrestling? And that's all they focused on. They were kind of on that one path in one direction, and they were just kind of going on that one lane. But then when they realized that wasn't what he wanted to do, what he wanted to do was make people happy, it opened up so many more doors for him and his business and his growth as now an actor, an entrepreneur. He's owner of the one of the XFL, I think the whole XFL, honestly. It opened up so many doors because his goal was to make people happy. And for us, it's creating memories, whether it's through your business or through an event. So whatever it is that your message is, whatever it is that you're trying to help people do, run with that. And that is how you're going to transcend all of the things that are happening in our business environment, where we don't know answers, where we don't know what's going to happen next. We don't know what legislations are going to put restrictions on us next. If you stick to that core, I promise you will get to the other side. So back to my story, in March, when nothing happened, we had 3 months where we couldn't do anything. That means no income, no events. We literally were just kind of stuck in what we were. we decided that deep down, our message of creating memories should not go away, and it's not going to go away. So we started, instead of promoting what we do, we promoted what we've done and how we've created memories for other people. So we were hearing and talking about stories of, remember that time when the bride cried when she walked into her reception because it was so beautiful? Or do you remember that time when certain client called you 5 years later and said, do you remember that conversation we had about something that I felt like changed my life? And they share those stories with us. Those are the things that we just started building our foundation back on. We started building on the memories. And those are the things we shared to our followers on Instagram, our followers on Facebook. Those are just the things that we shared. And ironically, it connected with people because people wanted to feel like they had something more to look forward to than everything that was going on. As soon as the sign was given that some sort of normalcy was going to come back, we saw our business jump from, I think we were planning on, a normal summer of, 10, 15 events a month to like 25, 30 events a month. And we started trying to track, like, how did this happen? What did we do so differently that everybody else has done? Because we've watched several of our friends close their businesses. You guys have seen several large corporations close through through TV or whatever. And it all came back to when we asked the question, what is it about us? Why did you continue to call us? And they all kind of came back to the same thing. And I'm going to read this quote that I got back from somebody, because we asked, it was that she was like, we took the time. Oh, I'm sorry. We really knew how to make people see beyond their thinking things that they knew they would never forget. I'm not selling anything that anybody else isn't. Like, I have chairs, I have tables, I have linens. You can go get that from a couple people in town. Honestly, there's several people that might have those things. Instead, what we were giving to people were the memories. We were giving people what we felt like was our core. And when people can resonate with that, they're going to be your clients for life. They're going to follow you. They're going to tell their friends. And we noticed that when we stuck to that, when we built that as our baseline, that is how we're going to get past 3 months of no business, how we're going to get past an exceptional year. We're actually on pace to outdo 2019 after being closed for 3 months. And we were like, how did we do this? Like, what's happening? Are people really that ready to do stuff? And yes, they are. But at the same token, they could have gone anywhere else. There are lots of event rental companies in town. There are lots of small business coaches out. But they chose us because they felt like we could deliver what we said we could deliver. And that was taking a vision and making it into reality, and something that I probably will never forget. We decided also that was just gonna how we do business. So a lot of people don't even know what I do, to be honest with you, because I don't tell them. I don't tell them, I rent chairs and tables like that. That's not fun to say. What I do is I say I create memories. So when you go back and somebody asks you what you do, think of another way to say it that helps them kind of resonate with what it is you really stand for. If you are coming to sell me something and you tell me you're an account executive for the billboard guy, I'm gonna look at you like, okay, well, here's another guy trying to sell me something. But if you came to me and said, hey, I am in the business of transforming you and your business and growing it, that's what I do for a living, I might listen to what you have to say a little bit different. When you can stick to that, when you can push that as your forefront, as your message, I feel like your business can go past the pandemic. It can go past all the other stuff we have going on in the world right now. And because people are wanting to connect with you on something other than a basic product or service, they want to connect with you. They will follow you. They will trust you. And when they find out what your message is, what you're trying to do, what your core is, they will stick around, and they'll tell their friends, and they'll tell their friends' friends, and they'll be with you to the end. Again, we were closed for 3 months, and all we did for those 3 months was talk about what we stood for. I could have pushed all kinds of different things, but instead I chose to focus on what is important to us as a business and what's important to us as a family, honestly. And that is how we were able to get through. Your business or even your professional career may be looking for what it is you stand for. And I always tell the younger people that try to come work with me, what do you stand for? Because if it doesn't align with what we stand for as somebody that needs to hire people, it's probably not going to be a good fit. You're not going to be here long. You're not going to be happy here. because what we stand for is creating memories. If you're here for a paycheck, or if you're here for something very different, this probably isn't for you. And that is how we go about hiring people. That is how we go about hiring a nanny. Like, all those things matter for us in that. How are you going to help us remember this going forward? Y'all, I did not have a whole lot to say, but that. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, please share them with me. I do challenge you all to ask yourself, what is your message? What is your core? And how you can take that to your companies, to your careers, and help them grow in that way. That's all I got for you guys today.
Thank you so much, Chanel. That was an excellent, excellent message. And, certainly people could be in different positions over these past few months where they have the time and ability to really sit and reflect on these things. I'm sure people have reflected on their choices and careers during all of this time. And this is a really great, great thing to have in mind. Ms. Susan, do you want to close this off with Chanel's?
Yeah, before we did, I just had one question. I loved what you were saying about, defining who you are and what you're about. And I think as a small business owner, you've done a great job at doing that. For those of us who work for larger companies, it's important. How do we incorporate what our job is in these larger roles, these larger companies, with really who we are and what we bring? How do we explain that and embrace that?
I think the only large company that I can recall working for was Wells Fargo, that allowed me to actually embrace some of the things that we stood for on a local level. So that may be starting a group of people like you that are in your company that maybe want to get together to push some different initiatives. When you find like-minded people within larger organizations, you can tend to get things done. So I think in that instance, finding like-minded people would be a start for a larger corporation. But until they know that you're like-minded, like they know what you stand for, it's going to be hard to find those people. So I think maybe putting that out there could be a start, but I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. I did. And are there any other questions? There were some great comments. I don't know if anybody has had a chance to see all of those, but some really great comments. So if there aren't any other questions, Shell, thank you so much. I'm so glad you joined us today. And we really appreciate your time, and looking forward to when we can have you visit with us in person again. And you too, Stephanie, we're looking forward to having you visit us also. I don't have anything else, Megan, if you want to close out the meeting, I think we're good.
Before we close out, Stephanie, since you're a guest today, would you mind introducing yourself and just letting us know who you are, where you're from, what you do, and again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Rebecca had invited me to this event. She didn't know that Chanel was my former neighbor, and I was like, yes, girl, I want to hear everything she's got because she's the most inspirational. I look at her family and think that they're like supermodels, and I'm like, wow, they're amazing. And so I was really excited. And then I got to looking at the group. So my why is to enhance the lives of seniors and their families. And so everything I do is kind of falls from that. So I am the local owner and operator of Homestead Senior Care. So I take care of senior adults. I teach marketing for MBA and DBA. That's what I got my doctorate in. And I'm really active in Alzheimer's research and trying to change legislation for elder. I'm now in law school, so that's kind of fun, so that I can take it to the next level because I don't have enough. But I was actually diagnosed with COVID in April and spent some weeks in the hospital and still trying to recover from that. And so my priorities have been more focused, and my why has been more drilled down in what really matters in life, and just that prioritizing and not getting busy with all the busyness and making sure that we're making time for what really matters.
Thank you, Stephanie. Stephanie was also in my leadership Tuscaloosa class of 2018. Yay us. We know how to kill SimCity. So Stephanie really did, we appreciate you sharing your story, your COVID story with the community. I know that you had been interviewed a lot by the media on that. And so I think it's really good for people to see a person who has gone through that. And, you know, I will mention something real quick, Chanel, that I found interesting on LinkedIn. There was this article that one of my students shared that showed this woman who decided to change her profile picture. So it's almost like the way that we've gone through this COVID time, as I like to call it, for these last 6-7 months, is reevaluated how we are approaching things, how we are evaluating what is important, as you and Stephanie both mentioned. And so this woman was like, you know what, I had this very sharp picture taken that my husband took, and I've got, you know, the clothes on, and I'm wearing, you know, the full on makeup, and I've got the perfect smile that you're supposed to have. But instead, now I'm going to use my COVID picture, and her COVID picture is probably something like this. So it's like no makeup, not a perfect smile, but a more sincere smile, and, you know, crazy hair and that kind of thing. And so, and a little bit more casual on the clothing. And so I think that's one of the things that a lot of people are trying to evaluate is, you know, not just what's, you know, what is our purpose and what are we doing, and, you know, how are we going to help people remember us. But I think authenticity is still also really important. And I think, Chanel, it sounds like that you also bring that to your clients, is authenticity. And so I think it's really good for us to maybe reevaluate how we're presenting ourselves, and not be too shy to show you what I look like without makeup. And but then being a little bit more realistic, because we do bring so much more to the table than just the perfect profile picture. So I think you and Stephanie touched a little bit on that, and I appreciate that as well.
Thank you. One thing about us is, if you ever came to my showroom, again, like I said, I actually, like, my kids work with me. So when they're here, they sit in on meetings, like they want to tell you what they're going to do. And I make it very known that, like, they're going to be here. They're here. This is kind of their thing. So I'm actually very, like, I might take the rest of the day. I'm lucky right now to, to not have them here, and my husband's at home with them. And I might just sit here, honestly, all day and take a nap. But that is true. Like, people have gotten so used to putting on the whole show, but in the reality, this is what it is, and it's okay. We can still get the job done in that manner as well. So, thanks for sharing that.
Great. Excellent. Thank you, everybody. Chanel, thanks for joining us. Ms. Stephanie, thank you for joining us as a guest. I did state earlier that you could visit our website, PRCAWA.com. That's PRCA West Alabama. And from there, you can sign up to see our newsletters. And then also, we will, of course, stay in touch with you to discuss possible membership. October is renewal time and is a great time to come in as a new member. So you're here just in time. If anybody has any final announcements that they'd like to say to kind of, you know, anything personal, business related that you'd like to share with the group, anybody? Okay, I will take that silence as a no. Ms. Chanel, thank you again so much for giving us a vision and a mission for this week to think about what our why is. And I know that that's what I'm going to be thinking on, and learning how to implement it into your everyday life, no matter what your role is. Even if you feel like maybe your company doesn't offer you that type of freedom, just know that every personal you know, email, phone call, connection that you make is your opportunity to share your why. So keep it in your heart, you know, present your honest self as everybody's talking about, and you'll find success and people who care and appreciate that. So thank you all for joining us this month. We will be back again next month, more than likely still on Zoom. But if anybody needs anything, feel free to reach out to Rebecca, myself, or Amy, who wasn't able to make it today, and we will be around. So thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thanks, Chanel.
Welcome back.